I'm telling you, we're on. You might as well hit the button. We know that we're on.
Can you hear us? Sam, can you hear us?
Sam, we're on. Psst, Sam, we're live.
You're on. I'm not a moron.
We're live.
Please stand by while we experience technical difficulties. There we are. We knew we were on. We're getting better at this.
Yeah.
We're going to get worse at it too. How about this? 3 shows in a row, regular podcast shows. Well, that's going to stop tomorrow because we're back to a pregame and postgame with the Nashville Predators in town. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We have a Luds Discord channel today. We are going to talk about some of the news and notes around the NHL, including a really pretty shootout goal from Alexander Barkov. But to open the show today, we're going to dive into the brain of one Craig Ludwig. Yes.
He's going to be a very deep dive.
He's a big part of the show today, folks. So let's get to it. It is Wednesday, December 11th, and this is the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast live from the podcast studio, as you would make sense. We've been in the lounge a little bit, which is kind of nice. But
I love it.
Here we are working on our posture instead of leaning back in those much more comfortable lounge chairs. Actually, these are great chairs. I'm Owen Newkirk. He's Sam Nessler, Craig Ludwig, and by the way, I said Ludwig. Ludwig.
My mic was muted again. Ludwig.
Yes, we've had all sorts of mispronunciations.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What
Get out of here.
Miller Lite.
Take out.
That reaction fits perfectly what we're about to do.
Yes.
It is. We have a big show today. In addition to a practice update, Stars practice for the first time this week after having 2 days off, and we have some news from practice. We'll also look ahead at the upcoming games with Nashville and St. Louis, which are tomorrow and Saturday at American Airlines Center as part of this 6-game Stars homestand. We have a Luds Discord channel today. We haven't done that for a couple of weeks. And some interesting NHL news and notes. A couple of items from the Board of Governors meeting down in Florida. Notice they always seem to find Florida for their winter Board of Governors. They never go up to Winnipeg or
It looks stormy.
New York City or whatever.
Background.
They want warm. So all of that to come on the show today. But to begin with, I asked Luds a question the other day off air just because, we have 3 shows. Wanted to make sure that we were hitting all the good topics before we go back into game, which is what we've been doing for a large stretch of the last month. And I looked at Craig and I asked him a couple questions. I said, the first thing is that, Lud says he never sleeps. So he's up early. Everyone else is still asleep and he's watching the film again, watching game tape from the previous Stars game. I said, what's going through your brain right now when you watch the Dallas Stars play hockey?
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
We have a new drop.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't even know where they come from, but it's amazing.
It's not even relative to anything that we're doing, is it?
Yeah, he's talking about thinking about what's going
That's
on.
our
in your head.
second sound drop from Inside Out. We have 2 now.
That was Inside Out too.
I'm surprised you don't have.
Bing bong.
Was that Inside Out or Inside Out 2?
One.
I'm surprised you don't have anger losing it.
Oh, we'll get there. When Luds finally loses his patience with us,
John lost his
we'll get
patience.
into
with
it.
Luds
It
yesterday.
happened. What's inside? You know what keeps me up? And it's really from the conversation we have with Petey. And by the way, we had, what the hell's Petey's name?
Steve Peters.
Steve.
Oh, well, there you go. If you
Hockey nicknames, very original.
Yeah. So Petey does all these breakdowns and he does a great job. Well, we had a conversation with him yesterday on the show. And what happens if Tyler doesn't come back healthy? That's what's
Even in time for playoffs.
yeah. I just because we kind of got into it a little bit, and then after I don't even know where it came from, but I said something about Stankoven. See how I'm saying Stankoven now for you?
I really
I'm
appreciate
trying
it.
to do that.
You're
Beautiful.
doing really well.
I said, I don't even know if he's the right guy to play with Robo and Hintz, and he's a perfect fit down there with Jamie. If right now Wyatt on that line is the right one, and so in the perfect world, who would that guy be? And we keep going back to Joe, so just ring the bell and get it out of the way with. And not only was Joe a leader,
That's the live bell today.
a leader in the room, and obviously for that line. But there's other things that Joe did that really never brought up. And Joe slowed the game down a little bit. And, he would get, you got
to find a way.
I got to find a different way to do this. So what he did, he would slow the game down. And I think that helped Jason Robertson. Rupe's got so damn much speed that he just about leaves anybody in the dust, right? And so there's somebody over there. Now, the way that Logan plays, he's a heat-seeking missile, and he skates, and he goes. And there's a lot of clips, and we did some stuff on Robo today that'll be on the VOD thing. Did I get that in there right?
Kind
Good
of.
enough?
It'll
Close
be a VOD on the YouTube
And we did
channel
not
later.
talk about this yesterday. So these guys are hearing it for the first time, and I don't whether you agree or not. I'm sure you're going to tell me. But there's so many clips that I've seen that you don't see Robo in the picture frame when it crosses the offensive blue line. And I think what Pavelski was able to do is he could slow that game down enough on the half wall and make them little he could make those little passes off the half wall. And when Rupe drives the net, and if he doesn't get the puck, it ends up pulling defensemen in there. And so there's a hole that opens
He backs
up.
everybody off.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's a pocket in there somewhere. And that's where Robo didn't really have to look for it. He's just catching up at that point. He's coming into the zone at that time anyway. So maybe that's what it is. So,
It's funny, Luds, that's a little bit like Tyler Seguin playing with Duchene, of Seguin finding those pockets as a pure goal scorer. And this is more of Seguin at this age, because at his younger stages, he was quick. He was getting behind guys. He was looking for breakaways. It's the veteran Seguin, through a bunch of injuries and surgeries, reimagining his game, but still reading those pockets of space.
And I think with all of that experience comes a player that can read the game at that speed and at that pace. He sees the game. He knows what to look for. Logan will eventually get there. I'm just saying that all those years, Tyler's learned things, and he learns who and how to play with certain players. And Logan hasn't. I mean, he's just getting here, right? And he plays us one way. And I think Tyler can read off of those two, and he can kind of think ahead of what's happening, because you're always talking about how when you have to think, you're a second behind. You just want to react. And I think Sagan's able to pick that up and kind of process it. He can process it better coming through the neutral zone. And so maybe that's what because again, I think that I said this yesterday too. I mean, if you had Jamie Benn and let's just say Sam Steele in the middle and Logan on the third line, there's a line that can play against anybody, I feel. And I think there's a line that plays a tone, sets a tone, plays straight lines if they do, and they have success. And they pin good lines in the offensive zone where they can't do the work in the other end of the ring. So here we go. Yesterday was like, okay, so if there is some LTIR or LTI, whatever they want to call it, is it a defenseman or is it a forward? I don't know. I mean, I think we're still leaning. I'm sure you guys are still leaning towards defenseman. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a forward there that can fit in a little bit more seamlessly with that top. Now all of a sudden, maybe you have that same. I don't know if we're ever going to rekindle the top 6 or top 9 we used to have. So
I think it's closer than you realize. I think that if you added a forward that could be in your top 9 and got Seguin back from injury at close to the level he was playing at before the surgery, now you've got a pretty deep team.
Yeah.
Because now it suddenly drives.
When you say closer than I think, you meant Tyler coming back? Is that what you mean? Okay.
Tyler coming back
Okay, sure.
and not being, hindered by rehab and not looking very comfortable. Because that's a big fear. Is you say, what if you don't get Seguin back?
How long do you wait on that, though? How long does Jim Nill wait on that?
But how can you wait? That's a great question. How can you wait? Can you wait for the playoffs?
Well, you don't want to see, in my opinion.
Meaning, can you go say we're going to use LTIR, but we're going to wait towards closer to the trade deadline? Do you wait till after the Four Nations?
I
see
think
where you're at in late February.
Well, from the standpoint of waiting to the playoffs, you have to have your top 12 and your 6 playing playoff hockey when you're 10, 15 games out from the playoffs.
But if you want to use,
turn it on.
If you want to use LTIR,
how are you going to get chemistry built if you just bring them in a week ahead?
That's the problem. If they use it,
but
he has to come
Seguin
back.
can't come back.
Right.
If you use LTIR,
But he can do a Mark Stone. He can be ready a month earlier.
Is that okay?
No, I don't think that's
You're
okay.
saying training,
Yes.
but not playing.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Skating, rehabbing,
and I
ready
think,
to
but he's
go.
still not playing.
They're
going to
know all that coming into this. They're
Yeah.
going to say maybe they know today because didn't he come back to Dallas today? Is that what,
No,
He's
tomorrow.
coming back tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So has there been any report out from the reporter?
We have some
We have
stuff
anything?
for you.
Yeah.
Well,
Go for it.
Help my brain.
So save the other part for a little bit later, but you can do the Seguin thing now.
Seguin. Yeah, we got an update on Seguin's surgery. Everything was positive. No complications or anything like that. So surgery went well, and he's expected to come back to Dallas tomorrow. So that's so far the update. There's as far as an updated timeline, it's not worse, but it doesn't mean it's any better. So there's everything expected went well. He's expected to be back in Dallas tomorrow, starting to rehab and things like that, which will be good because he can at least be around the team a little bit more, and some of the guys can visit and things like that. Because I'm sure it's been a tough week for him over in New York, away from everybody.
Well, Pete said the phrase "no red flags,"
Yep.
and he said it wasn't that everything was great. He goes, it was a bad injury, but there were no surprises. Nothing that went, oh, that's worse than we expected.
Which is
So
good.
it's about as good as you can hear, other than, wow, we went in there and he's going to be ready in 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're there, but it did, the way that Pete responded to your questions about it today, it sure sounded like they're on track, but now, hey, it's a lengthy rehab process, and we don't really want to put any unnecessary pressure on him to come back any sooner than he has to. So that's the next step. But I think that's a good thing, right? It's better than the previous surgery he had where he had to do both the knee and the hip and all sorts of stuff, and it became much worse and a much longer process than they thought.
Yeah, I wonder, like, we talk the 4 months would be like right. I forget what the date was. Either way,
early
basically,
April.
yeah, 4 months was basically going to be close to the end of the season. So
Yeah, it's with about 2 weeks to go.
yeah,
I
he's
think.
not getting back with a month and a half, 2 months, no matter what. So the question is,
And that's
what
on
you were
the
just
short
saying,
end
Luds.
of
yeah,
it.
if he is on that short end and he's available, let's give it 3 weeks. Let's say 3 weeks before the regular season, Tyler Seguin's ready. If that's the outlook and they know that in January, I wouldn't use the LTIR if I was them. If I were them,
That's only a month away.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But whenever they know it, I just think that I could be completely wrong, but in my opinion, keeping the LTIR as an option is great, but using it should only be an option if Seguin cannot come back and get 2 to 3 weeks of playing, because I just think that's so hard for a player to come back and play well, and what a risk that would be to have your best line come back and have Seguin take a month or 2 series to
And
get
that's
ready.
that's all dependent on that rehab goes well.
Yeah,
Correct.
right.
Goes the way it's expected to go.
Yes.
It's a
There's
tough
no
situation.
setbacks. Yeah.
It's a lot of unknown, and that's why it's hard. That's why GMs get paid a lot of money.
When's
and
the
why,
trade deadline this year?
It is in early March.
Yeah, it's
Look at the smoke is coming off the keys.
I'll let Sam do it because he's gonna be slower than I
2
would.
fingers. March 7th.
Okay.
March 7th? Okay. So I think you have to make a move anyway. But Luds, you also said this to me yesterday, or was it yesterday? I think it was. When I asked you these questions about what's keeping you awake, what's in your mind about watching the Stars, what are you thinking about? You did say it's not all bad. They are improving.
Mhm.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I think that the chemistry is coming to. I mean, they have what? Steele, Blackwell, Dumba, Bork, Labushkin,
Yep.
Brendan Smith. I mean, we're talking 7, 8 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of those guys aren't, as Pete said, aren't used to the system yet, or they're getting better at the system. And unfortunately, a couple of those guys are in the back end where it becomes pretty important. But you see them now sorting things out a little bit better. So I think, and that takes time. And we talked about this a month or so ago. There was the Florida Panthers that won the cup. Their coach there had said in a press conference when he first got there that, and this was right in the beginning, is he he said to a reporter, somebody asked him, well, how long do you expect it to be before the guys have got into your system? And for some crazy reason, he said 62 days. Yep. And for even a crazier reason, I happened to be watching that game that night, but I heard it. I heard the interview after, and it was something similar to they've latched onto the system. So I quickly went, and I went, wonder where this is, and it was game 62. Now I don't know if he was smart enough to just kind of wait to say that comment because it was that date, but it takes time, and it takes time for those guys, and then it takes time for everybody to get used to those guys within that system. So I guess what we're seeing is we're seeing better cohesiveness from one end of the rink to the other. And is it perfect yet? No. There's things that are happening, but you're seeing it come along. I just don't know. I didn't think the missing of Tyler Seguin would be so, and it's not terrible. It's just it doesn't seem to be the right recipe right now, for more so for Robo, I think, because we're seeing Roope's getting his game going. And Roope does a lot of things on his own because of his speed. He creates his own chances sometimes. It has to start with a pass. And there's a couple clips that I've seen Robo's getting him that puck, and it leads to a chance. Wyatt now has figured out, man, this isn't like passing to one of these other guys. This is a different level of passing, and got to get it there earlier. So Wyatt's got that figured out with him. So that's the good news. So again, it's just, but and they're still in the mix of everything, you know. And they've got, the good news is they got Jake, who's been great. Yeah,
and it's made me and the team, I'm sure, and fans appreciate Tyler Seguin, I think, as well. Everyone knows he's a good player, but to see how impactful he was on the ice, even through all the injury and everything like that, this injury has really shown that. And I think that's a kind of a wake up call for some people.
Well, let's talk more about that and give you some other news from practice today up in Frisco. Next here on the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast.
Right now it's time for a little day drinking. Founded in 2010, Herman Marshall, Dallas County's first legal distillery since the repeal of Prohibition. Located in historic downtown Wiley, Texas is proud to partner with the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas on a single barrel expression of its signature straight bourbon whiskey. The Guns N' Hoses Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance to the families of fallen police officers and firefighters lost in the line of duty. They're built from the grain up through family, fellowship, and friends. So for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. Stop into your closest goody-goody liquors and other fine retailers.
Let's talk about Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. I've done it before. I think it's a great move. Holiday gifts, sporting events, concerts, comedy, stand-up comedy shows, theater, you name it. Maybe even the symphony, right? I guess that's a concert.
They have that here?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Dallas Symphony?
Oh, we got to go.
Now. Anyway, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for those live events even easier, filtering out the fluff. Game Time Picks shows you only great deals on incredible seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Use Game Time and in the app for all-in pricing. This feature, if you toggle it, shows the upfront cost, no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, you get the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Sam, what time is it?
Game time!
Oh, he's back.
It's about time.
Had a little coffee today.
All right.
Sorry for the crude camera work, audience, but we had to send half the cameras here to MLB winter meetings, so it's the best we have to work with.
I didn't even notice that.
As Luds was doing his read, I was doing a stretch and yawn, which I would
right
have preferred not have been on camera. But that's right. We're fighting through some sleepies. That's okay. So, Luds, you were talking about Tyler Seguin. You were talking about Logan Stankoven.
I want Sam to ask a question of the coaches next time you get an opportunity. I have my own opinion, but I'm not going to say anything. Why haven't they ever used Logan Stankoven on penalty killing? Can you find that out?
Yep.
Okay.
So I grabbed Matt Duchene before he.
Like literally grabbed
No,
him?
I didn't physically. I asked him. I just said, "Hey, before you walk out of the dressing room, I've got one question for you." And it turned out to be 3 questions, but I said one.
He's going to remember that.
Yeah, no, he was cool about it because I asked him about playing with Logan, he and Marchman, and he said that I said, "How does it feel, and do you have to change your game at all?" And he said, "No," but then he said, "Well, he holds on to the puck more at high speeds, and because he can do that, he's looking to keep puck possession a little bit differently than Tyler does." He says Tyler's so good at those little passes here, little give and go here. He goes, so with Tyler, it's all these quick little plays to open up space, and Tyler's reading. And I talked to him about what we did yesterday with the, Duchene kind of holding up the play, going wide, and then finding Seguin in those pockets. And Duchene said, yeah, he's a natural goal scorer, an elite one. He has those instincts, Tyler, of getting to finding those pockets at the right time, showing up at the right time. And he said, Logan's learning that. He said he'll get even better. And once he does, he's going to be a real pain for people to deal with. He said, but if anything, he's more of a setup guy in hanging on to the pucks. He goes, so maybe I need to go to those spots a little bit and shoot because he'll find me for that. So it's an interesting conversation. But what he said was, they believe that the line has created more scoring chances than the points have indicated in the few games they've played together. He said, it's better than it looks. I think it's getting him better. And I was interested because I told him, I said, I have you guys down for multiple scoring chances every game. And it looks like Stankoven is getting better at reading off those two. And he felt really confident about that line. He said, it's going to come together. What he really said was, he goes, Mush and I, talking about Marchment, think it would be really cool to help him win the Calder. Like, he brought it up. I didn't even say the Calder. I just said, boy, he had a great start. He was leading the rookies in scoring, and, he's only has 2 assists in his last 10 games. And
well, if that's the case, then the way it's going, Duchene and Marchment are going to have to put some pucks in the net.
yes,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that he gets an assist on it.
Sure.
Because right now, they're not going in for him.
right.
So, and Duchene is a pass-first guy. Well, you know what? I don't know. Is he?
He
I mean,
shifted a little bit.
He's
he really,
both.
He
Yeah.
really reads it
I
well.
think he
Yeah.
can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's a passer.
He's such a
first.
good passer that
Yeah.
people say he's a passer guy.
I
Then you
think
see him make
he's-
shots like he does.
He's thinking about connecting those passes, but
But the
you've
thing
seen
is
him shoot.
when he makes those little moves and things like that, he's not shooting. He's making passes.
he's
When he
looking.
sees daylight, then which I think he does more playmaking.
You remember
than he does passing.
Duchene's power play goal against Edmonton right off the faceoff, where he caught it and ripped it. We remember Darnell Nurse's meandering.
Oh yeah, that thing.
trying to block, but not
Yep.
really try to.
The one from above the circle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that Duchene, he catch and release.
Let's
he
not
can do
use that for an example because that was poor goaltending.
It was
and I'll
awful,
just say that.
but it was a good shot, and
Yeah.
and I believe he has the instincts to do both.
Yeah.
But that was the discussion with Duchene today about Stankoven. Actually, I sat with Jamie Benn for a little bit as well, and I usually
He
leave.
smiled while you were talking to him.
Well, that's
I
always
saw him
weird.
smile.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, you
Bless
saw
you,
it from a
John.
different. Oh,
Bless you, John.
Gesundheit.
I
That was-
mute my mic when I sneeze. You don't have to say bless
Yeah,
you
but
on the
we're-
show.
It's polite.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And we want to bring your attention to it. No, I was asking Jamie about Sam Steele and about Stankoven and basically about everybody but himself.
That's probably why.
because he doesn't. He
like,
wants to talk about the other guys. Luds, he said that Sam Steele is way underrated, and that he's a better player offensively. I asked him. I said, "Is he a better player than people give him credit?" He goes, "Absolutely." And then he said, when I talked to him about Dodonov, I said the same thing. And as we were talking, one of the realizations were Jamie Benn, Sam Steele, and Evgeny Dodonov are guys that you can put on any line, and they can be effective. And so it's 3 sort of utility knives put together on a line. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, but Steele brings different elements than Dodonov does, right?
Yeah, right. They're not the same.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
have abilities to plug and play.
I think you can bring them to another line. They're not going to live on that line. You know what I mean? Like they're probably not the perfect fit if they were going to play 82 games together. So because they can go up there and play for 5, 6, 7 games and
Right.
be effective, but over the long haul. Yeah, I mean it's a compliment to Steele, right? I mean, and I think Steele's growing on me for sure.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't, you watch his work ethic. Like I just look at there's a couple different plays we've seen where he may have been late to the party, and not to his fault, but to covering up for guys coverage wise. And you see him laying out and diving, and he gives every attempt to do that. So I think for Steele, the good news is for him, more so for the team and for the coaching staff, his mindset is about being good in his own end and being hard to play against there, but he has the ability to translate
he has
some of
offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that it's the perfect kind of guy for Pete to have in his arsenal. If you need him to go play in the middle someplace up the lineup a little bit.
Sam, I think it's time.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
I don't know if you told him.
I haven't.
I don't even know what it is.
anything.
Well, no, you know what it is.
Oh,
The big news besides Tyler Seguin from practice today was the one guy that wasn't out there.
correct.
So tell Luddy and everybody listening about Matt Dumba.
Yeah, Dumba was the only one not at practice today. Pete DeBoer said he is dealing with something, upper body. He did say they're being precautionary with it, but he said he's getting checked out further, so they're going to look at that. So that's I didn't see anything in the game.
He said he heard it in the game against
Yeah,
Calgary.
he said it was in the game. I didn't see anything in that
And he
game.
was getting pictures.
Yeah, he's getting so obviously precautionary and pictures.
Sam, when
usually
you
don't clash.
In the head? For his head?
They said upper
Just
body.
said upper body.
Well, I thought it was head.
He didn't. Wait, was it? I mean,
So
do you remember
You
a
got the
moment
inside
where
scoop.
my brain is blanking right now? But of the
Apparently
Calgary
his
game,
is too.
There's only
was there a moment where Dumba was?
I don't think it was
I don't
Calgary, but I can't remember. There was one moment where he was on the bench with the towel over his head for a little bit, but I want to say that was prior to that. I
Okay.
think that might have been before.
So
the
we're gonna
road
have
trip.
to do some investigating.
Yeah, we'll have
on
to look
this.
at it. But yeah, that's not good news.
We'll do that and we'll touch base. That'll be Luddy at 3-4 in the morning when he's
Yeah.
awake. He can rewatch.
I'll
the-
scour.
You scour the clips and see if you see anything from that Flames game that would have said, "Hey, Dumba."
The thing that stood out as soon as Pete said that, to me, it doesn't. Like, of course, we hope it's not anything more serious, but even if it's not, even if he misses 1-2 games, the last thing Dumba needed right now was another injury and another time to be out of the lineup. Because I'm not saying he wasn't, better. It's not like he was getting a lot better and we were seeing a ton of improvements, but he got back into the games. He needs to get back in, and now he's going to most likely at least sit out a game, I'm imagining, tomorrow. It's just the last thing he needs with what he's trying to do and where they're trying to get him.
Yeah, I think the good news for Matt is if they're happy or happier with his game, because the replacement for him is Brendan Smith, right? And this is no knock on Brendan. We all know why he's the number 7 here, and so I think Matt, when he comes back healthy, he's going to get that opportunity. Because if it was that, that guy that you're always worried, when you become a veteran player. I spoke about this, is like when you become a veteran player and there's younger guys that are kind of hanging around, you don't get injured. Yeah. I don't care how bad your leg is broke, you don't get hurt. And that's because when you sit out a game or two because you're maybe in a little injury, that guy gets in there and all of a sudden management's going, that guy can play. We didn't realize, he looks like he can.
Yeah, you give him a chance.
And all of a sudden, see you, Luds, so but I don't think that's the situation here. So he'll get back in there, and I agree. I think he's getting closer to what the coaches are expecting from him.
We'll do more in our pregame show tomorrow, of course, and Saturday. But the Stars' next 2 games on the slate, which this is a little bit of an easier stretch because they had 2 days off than a practice, is Nashville in town tomorrow, and the St. Louis Blues and Jim Montgomery as the head coach on Saturday. This feels more like a trap game than the Calgary game to me. We always talk about trap games coming off of a road trip, but 2 days off, a practice day, you're playing a objectively terrible team in Nashville. Are you worried about it?
No.
Why? Or why not?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing was what we talked about with Pete on Sunday, I think, where they talked about the toughest stretch. And whether that was actually true, whether it was the toughest, it was one of the toughest, right? They played a ton of games. They had the Finland trip. They had the bunch of road trips. They have this beginning of the season is compact. He knows. He said it today again. We've gotten past that. It's in the rearview mirror. And Luds, I did actually ask him about the coaches if they have a goal when they go into those stretches, like you asked me the other day.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually said it was an interesting answer. He said he didn't say they have he said there's no number goal. We don't say let's win this many games. It was more on what to avoid. Let's avoid losing 5. Let's avoid losing 4. Let's avoid letting it snowball. Basically, get out of it alive was the way he put it. And so they're past that point now. That Sunday game was so impressive to me over and over again because he said it multiple times, they were running on fumes. And I actually asked him what the message is going to one of those games. How do you get the team, is there any different message than just let's win this game? And he said, I'll give you guys 2 days off, which is exactly what you said. So it just feels like a big lift off their shoulders to be past this. And so I really think I would pick them winning at least 4 of these games on this road trip. And I think homestand, yeah. And I think that I'm so used to them being on the road.
I know.
And
autopilot, just like Luds.
And I think that would be very, very good for this team. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 5 out of the 6, and I don't think that Nashville is one of them that comes in unless UC Saros has a big game. I think that's the only thing that I see as an issue.
And they're not light. They've won 3 games out of their, or lost 3 out of their last 5, or won 3 out of their last 5, I believe it is.
Who? Nashville?
No, Dallas.
Yeah.
It's not like they're on, they've won the 8 games in a row and we can just show up, but we're going to, I don't think that they're still, they know as a group, and again, coaches are, sprinkling this in there every once in a while. We're still want to get to where we got to go. We're not quite there yet. We're not running all the cylinders that we believe we can be. So, and I think they all know that team at some point, maybe next year, but that team at some point is going to wake up and they're going to put some pucks in the net. The guys that were brought in to do that, they're going to start scoring. And again, they may be at the point right now in Nashville where you got a couple different ways to go. You can go ahead and blame it on the coach, and not that it's going to be his fault, but Trotz can look in the mirror and say, hey, that's on me because of the way I assembled this. And I went out and added these guys. So it's not on the coach, and this is what we are. And we're going to not write it off, but we're going to play this season out. We're going to try to get better, and I'm going to judge our group on next year kind of thing. But when you got guys that they brought in that are like that, even their goaltender is a good goaltender, but nobody's really playing up, So
they've
right
lost
now,
4 in a row.
Yeah.
They're 1-6-3 in their last 10.
They finally scored 3.
Yeah, it's
yesterday,
crazy.
And they still lost.
And they have the worst record in the NHL.
Yeah.
They have 20 points in 29 games.
Yep.
The Blackhawks have 20 points in 28 games.
Yeah.
But one of the Stars' worst losses this year was against the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So I wonder if losing in Chicago will help this be less of an issue of a trap game, because they just played a objectively terrible team in Chicago, and look, it's a trap.
Well, even San Jose and Anaheim games,
Mhm.
they were
That
part of the game.
Anaheim one was real bad.
These are
Yeah.
still NHL teams and NHL players for the most part. Up next, we are going to talk about some of the news around the league, and we're only about 15 minutes away from the damn Discord channel with Luds here on the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast.
First, let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper, the best fantasy league platform out there, period. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite, least favorite, or any players across all the leagues will have more or less than their projected stats each week or night. For tonight, the New York Rangers travel to Buffalo, which I just noticed seems to be a theme with my picks. So a lot of teams going to Buffalo that I pick with. But I have Rangers forward Artemi Panarin picking up an assist against the Sabres, and if that hits, you could win 1.66 times your monies. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. It keeps you a track of league updates in real time, so you're always informed and you can outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Constant Contact. Let's talk about goals for a minute. How are you tracking with the ones you set for your business earlier this year? Are you close? If not, do you know why you haven't hit them yet? Well, one of the things you need to do is get to Constant Contact. You have to have year-end goals. Constant Contact has what it takes to help you meet them faster. No matter how experienced you are with digital marketing, Constant Contact has the tools to make your marketing run smoother. Sell more, raise more, and build more genuine relationships with your audience with Constant Contact's suite of digital marketing tools, all made to fast-track your success. You no longer need to struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable approaches to marketing your business. Tap email marketing that helps you create and send the perfect email to every customer, and many, many more things. Time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, that's texting, and customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity for your free trial. All right, NHL News and Notes segment, because we have the Discord coming shortly with Luds. Luds, this is about the salary cap, but I'll keep it brief because I know every time we throw the numbers around, you tune out.
My head's ready to explode.
Yep.
Get that emoji ready, John.
Nice word.
I haven't used that in like 2
What
months.
emoji?
He still remembers it, though.
So
He won't remember
Of
what
all
he,
things to remember, he
he won't
remembers
remember
that.
what he said yesterday on the show, but he'll
mean
remember
this
the emoji.
afternoon.
Or 10 minutes ago. Gary Bettman at the Board of Governors meeting said that the salary cap is projected to increase to $92.4 million. It's currently at 88. That's the 5%. But if you read the reports a little closer, you see that he says it could be more after negotiations with the NHL Players Association. Well, what does that mean? Well, he basically got in front of the press and read the CBA, right? The current CBA says next year it will go up by 5%. So that's what it will do. Well, he's not giving any away, but the word is from the reporters covering this that the league really wants to get an extension to the collective bargaining agreement done, or a new CBA, right? Not necessarily just extension of the same, but they wanted to continue labor peace because it behooves everybody, and they're doing well with their revenues topping $6 billion, and they want that to keep going that way. And as we talked about with Sean, if they get into that above $6 billion, maybe closer to $7 billion range, we're looking at $100 million, maybe as a salary cap. But even if it only goes up 5%, that's going to give you an extra 4. There it is. And so I just to me there's no news here with what he said. It's how he said it, right? It's very typical from Bettman, the commissioner, the lawyer that he is. He's very careful with how he says the words because it's like he's speaking contract language. And you're smirking.
Well, he's done this forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Right. It's nothing new.
Why do you think owners have this guy sitting in that chair for the last, 30 plus years?
It's been a long time.
He works for them, right?
And he is successful at it.
Absolutely.
Think about that. Even a
How about
owner
the
that,
expansion teams?
think about
that he's bringing
Marullo,
in?
who was awful in Arizona. He's still got $1 billion for his franchise, and he ran that thing into the ground.
Yeah. And I think they know this. I've talked. Remember Glenn Healy? You guys
Of
know
course.
Glenn Heels. Okay,
Yeah.
so I talked to Heels enough, and he's a good buddy, and he's got choice things to say. But I mean, but it's business, and it's the owners that allow the players to live and do and get paid and all this other kind of stuff. That makes it a great sport, and then take care of you after you're done playing and things like that. So that's going to be priority for him.
I feel this could be a Ludscapades, but I'm
Yeah.
going to ask it
It
anyway.
was coming.
When you were playing, were you
Let's not go there.
very active with the Players Association? And
Oh no.
would you be more inclined to share your opinions if you were playing now than when you were back then? Or
No, I don't.
did you want to be away from that
I
stuff?
don't know enough. I don't follow it enough.
Yep.
I'm not up on enough. I remember our last one. We were in Minnesota, and we were sitting at the. It was called the 8 Bar or something, Hard 8 or something.
Of course,
like
it was
that.
a bar.
No, in the meetings, and they said, here's what's happening. We're gonna have a meeting and all this kind of stuff. And Luds, I said, whatever. I said, I got a plane. I'm going to Vegas here at 4:00 this afternoon. I'll vote. My vote is whatever you guys all decide to vote. Because I trust,
Yeah.
they're your teammates, your guys. I don't. My head, like that emoji. When those kind of things start going around, it goes like that. And so I can't do it. And and again, I never felt like I was never a big voice in it anyways. They're like, well, Jesus, what do we listen? You got some superstar dudes sitting in there that they're the ones that are making all the money anyways.
Do you think that's important that the faces of the NHL are also the ones involved in the negotiations?
100%. And they have been. And even like with the alumni stuff, when Gretz and Messier and all those guys started to get involved, Heels took this thing to a different level because of that. Now, if I were to do it again, I would probably do my best to understand a little bit more, be a little bit more dialed in. I don't have the capacity to sit there and in a room. I don't have the capacity to sit with you guys for 45 minutes. And we actually have fun.
That's fair.
But to sit into a room and have all this stuff rolling around it, I just get dizzy and
Just remember, he said he has fun.
Yeah, I heard that.
you
Oh,
heard
I
that.
enjoy this.
Good.
It's everything, all the other stuff.
I
that
make him
comes
laugh. That's the biggest goal I have every day. Ardell says you were more active with the Miller Lite Association. Is that true?
If there was one, I would be.
You'd be the chairman of that.
Yeah.
Another thing that came out of the conversations with Gary Bettman was that they are still finalizing with the International Olympic Committee to go to the 2026 Olympics, but they've been exchanging documents. Sounds like things could be on track as they expect to. It's in the CBA. It is part of the extension that they did for around COVID.
Where are those taking place?
That'll be in Italy, I believe. Am I not mistaken? Yep.
That's what I saw.
And so that's next year. It'll be 2026, but it'll be, over the winter, like January, February.
Is Russia allowed to play now, or are they still on lockdown?
I'm
I
not.
gotta look if
I don't
believe it's still banned.
I don't think they are. I think because of the ongoing thing
Yeah.
with Ukraine. So here's the thing. He said, Bettman, that the NHL is still working with the IIHF over a possible World Cup of Hockey in 2028. And they want a regular rotation with the Olympics, NHL players in the Olympics, and World Cups of Hockey going forward, which the best on best international stuff we all wanted as fans.
Yep.
The reason why why we're doing this Four Nations thing is because of Russia right now. Because, I can't remember what publication. My kids actually saw this the other day and said, hey, so-and-so did pick a Four Nations roster for the Russians NHL players. And they're stacked, as you would expect,
Yes.
right? Think about some of the guys, right? Ovechkin,
Yeah.
Kucherov. Think about the goalies.
Yeah, very talented.
Shesterkin, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky. Does Sorokin even get on the team? Probably not right now.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy.
The true Olympic, you want everybody in, but there are some political things in the world where they've got to deal with that. And I wonder if that's why, and without knowing anything, I'm just at my own hunch, why we haven't seen something more World Cup of Hockey, because they don't want to do it without the best teams, and Russia's one of the top 5 teams in the world. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be
Maybe the Czechs would argue that.
I was
but
going to say it would probably be Czech, and then Russia would be the ones you usually look out for
But
when
then,
you get to the Olympics and things like that. So
Olympics, there's a bunch of Swiss players now that are really good
Yeah.
NHLers, and they're going to want to show out for their country. So I really want to see another World Cup of Hockey. Was it the 96?
Yep. And
Where the US won?
2016
How great that was.
2016, I think the US would love a redo on that.
Well,
tournament.
With all of these tournaments and Olympics, when do because it's always the best players that are playing. When do they get a break?
That's
You
true.
know, now and then you're talking. I don't know if that's going to happen. They're talking about maybe bumping it to 84 games during the season, possibly, or they're kicking it around. I guess I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But anyway, like when do they get a break? And it's always on their shoulders.
Guess
and
what,
it's on their
Luds?
shoulders, but
This
they get the big
issue
money.
is a soccer problem in the world, and it's getting worse because FIFA, the governing body for world soccer, keeps adding things, whether it's international dates. The European leagues added more games for Champions League because it's big TV money. And all the coaches, they call them managers, same thing, complain that the players don't have enough time for rest and recovery. Too many games, too packed of a schedule to get the proper rest and recovery within the season and not having a true off season. And it's the same because the more games you have, the more important games you have, the more money and TV revenue you can get from that.
I will say that I talked to Jake for a little while today about the Four Nations, and he said, for him specifically and people he knows that are going, I don't think that's how they feel as much when it comes
they're
to
dying
international.
to play
Like
because it's been too long.
I said to him, you were at your first All-Star game last year. How does this compare? And he said, not even close. It's like this. We are so excited for stuff like this. So you're right. They're not going to get a lot of rest, especially let's say the Stars go to the Stanley Cup or the Western Conference Final. Their summer's now gone. So there's just all year hockey. But in terms of the best on best, it seems like that's a trade-off that a lot of guys would take because they love and look forward to playing in these things more than anything else.
And then we talked about owners and Bettman and stuff like that. And now
What
the
about
owners are like, you're wearing my best guys down.
What about Mike Modano? Because he played in all those tournaments. He played year after year of playoff runs with you guys. Did he ever say he was worn out?
I've never asked him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'd have to, or Billy Guerin was involved in that stuff.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But again, what they should have like a plumbers Olympics. You know what I mean? Like just take third and fourth liners.
Yeah. Well, they did a few guys in the
mean,
Four
20
Nations. They brought a few
or we
extra
could just
guys.
watch Shoresy.
I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna see. I threw that in there just so you could spin your head around, whatever.
Well,
Gotta set the tone, boys.
we're not going to get to everything on the list of today's news and notes. I couldn't help but notice that last night, every team the Stars is competing for a spot won.
Mhm.
The top 10, the Stars are one of the top 10 teams in the Western Conference. They're all winning games. You look at the standings. It's win 1, win 2, win 3, win 4. Like they're all good right now in one way or another. But I have to show you this, and Lud's right. This does not do it justice. But Alexander Barkov of the Florida Panthers scored a ridiculous shootout goal last night. And Sam, actually, I haven't seen this before. You said this is actually the second time he's done it in his career, at least that you can remember.
Yeah.
So he's going against Seattle's Joey Decord, and these are screenshots. But as he comes in, he's going from his left. Now, this still is, he pulls the puck back a little bit as if he's going to put his stick between his legs and try to shoot around his left skate.
The Mason Marchment, if you're
That's
out there
right.
listening and watching.
Well, then this is the next image is where he releases it. And you can see he completely got Joey Decord on the between the legs because it froze the goalie. Here's the reverse angle. Here he comes in, starts to go through the legs. Decord bites on it completely and then has no push. So all he can do is stick his leg out, and Barkov has the entire backside of the net. Luds, when you can get the goalie either leaning the wrong
don't
way.
ask me this question. You know I don't know the answer. I would never.
Sam,
You would never be
Why-
that person.
I wouldn't be either one of them
Yeah.
guys.
Sam, if you could get the goalie going like leaning the wrong way, or in this case, going down and freezing,
Yeah.
and you can slide it into an open net, that is a real baller goal for a forward.
Yeah, it's the classic like keep learning. Like goalies adjusted to the between the legs when we started seeing it a lot. So then now this move, and it was the Eastern Conference Final 2 years ago that he did it against Carolina to confirm it in the game. We'll watch. We can't show you,
Good
but
grief.
go look at it if you haven't. So yeah, he's pulled this move before. But this one was even cleaner than the previous.
It's
one.
not the all-time ones, but Luds, do you remember watching? Well, yes, that was awesome.
Malik? Yeah.
But I was
That was
thinking
like
more
13
of.
years
That was the first one.
19 years
that
Do you
kicked
remember?
out all that
Do
off.
you remember the Hockey Hall of Fame induction this year for Pavel Datsyuk? And it was like 5 minutes of just embarrassing goalies.
The slow one was the best, where he pulls it back, and
Flipped
just
it up.
kinda goes-
Wasn't Turco one of the ones he
Turco, Marty was on
pulled that
was-
first
was
backhand
Marty.
on? Oh man.
I only saw one game, and I know we got to go real quick. I only saw one game at Joe Louis Arena, and it was when I was working for the Elmira Jackals. We were up in Flint, Michigan, that destination that is Flint, and we rented a car and drove down and saw the Preds play the Red Wings, and we got media passes, so we sat in the press box, tiny thing, but it was me and our trainer, and we got to go. And I watched.
You mean upstairs in Detroit? You're talking about
In Detroit at Joe
my,
Louis
what
Arena.
What a bad walk up there.
Oh, walking up the stairs and then trying to get through. There's no room behind in the press box there. Datsyuk scored a goal, not in a shootout, against Nashville, where somehow he pulled the puck out of the scrum at the crease and was at the left side of the net against his body and then roofed it. And my jaw dropped because I've seen him play before, but doing it in person, when you see magic like that. And so that Barkov's shootout was just kind of like that. Great moment. Lud's Damn Discord is next here on the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast. But let's talk about being a diehard. Look, the last couple of days we've been highlighting how successful the 36 for 36 sale was, part of our Cyber Monday, the Black Friday stuff. Over 100 new diehards signed up for that. Well, that's come and gone, but it's the holiday season. What better way to support our show, support DLLS, and give a great gift like gifting a diehard subscription? Why not? Use the QR code on the screen. Go to alldlls.com, click on diehard. You can get that special someone in your life. Not only a great subscription, access to all of the
It's like
sports
the one
coverage.
Sam got me.
You can get a shirt, just like the one Luds is wearing, or any of the ones that are available on our merchandise store. You get a promo code for a free shirt when you sign up to be a diehard, and access to everything that you, Sean, and all our great writers are putting, even the ones that are behind the diehard paywall.
Yeah, quick shout out to Sean on vacation on a cruise. I don't know if we
John,
have
do you have that picture?
do we have the picture, John? If we don't, we can do it tomorrow. But
Did any of you ask me to get that picture?
no, that's why I was just curious.
No,
But
so
we'll
I
show
don't
you
have
tomorrow.
it.
But
That's the
Sean's on a
answer.
cruise. Yes, but
Sean sent us a picture on a group chat during the first segment of the show, and it was pretty funny.
Yes, become a diehard. Luds, I think I gifted you a diehard subscription for Christmas, right? That was what you asked for.
White elephant.
Luds came in.
You're gonna set it
Luds
up for
came
me,
in.
Jay?
Luds came in. Sat on
There
my
you
lap.
go. That's our white elephant.
Die
I know
hard for
it's-
the white elephant.
I know it's above the pay maximum, but
That
I
would
bet
be
you
really
people would be
funny.
fighting over that.
That'd
Don't
be
you
really
think?
funny.
All right. So alldls.com/diehard. Check it out. Become one. Help support us. Supports DLS. The coverage keeps going. Next, the Discord, which you can only access if you are a diehard. All right. So now it's time for the fun. Let's do that. Oh, there it
There
is.
it
You
is.
got
kind
it.
of crude because I had to drag it straight into the
Sorry,
computer.
hilarious. Look at
There's
that
Sean,
guy.
though.
So Sean said this
Again,
is
looking like a depleted
what was
person.
what was his cap? His caption, was it something about
The
Luddy's
Belize Bruins.
Yeah, he said
favorite
like
hockey
his favorite
team is the
hockey team, the
Belize Bruins?
By the way, love the shirt, Sean. I said this in the group
Look
text.
at that.
Love
Luds, do you
Belize
know what this
too.
shirt is?
Is that a dinosaur?
I have
I
another
thought that
guess.
was his
Oh,
glove
it's
bag.
Pokemon.
It's Pikachu
I
right
didn't
there.
see the Pikachu.
Right in
I
the
just saw
middle.
the
Well, this is
dinosaur on
that's
the left
that's
there.
technically that's Pichu. Pichu evolves into Pikachu. Yeah.
Oh, it's young
We're
Pika.
learning.
And the
Pika.
dinosaur is named well, the one without a long neck is called Executor. I don't know where the giraffe neck came from on that one.
Before we get to Discord, what's the starfish one? To the right of Pichu.
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
Star you.
thank you. I knew that one. I actually recognized that one.
By the way, Sam just noticed in the chat a new diehard.
Yeah, your boy. Why don't you give him a
Andrew?
shout out?
Andrew Leonard?
Yeah, your
Really?
boy Andrew says he's welcome boxes on the way. So he
About
must have
time he
signed
gets
up.
off his wallet.
At a boy.
Look at
Atta
that.
boy.
Thank you, Andrew. And it's time. We need to, and maybe that's something that we can dive into with a couple of different tools. We need to get a damn Discord theme and like
Theme
a song.
Mm,
Yeah,
like
we'll
a
work on
Batman type.
maybe not Batman.
Or a superhero.
Let's do it. Luddy's
Wonder
damn
Woman.
Discord. All right, Luds, are you ready
Wonder-
for this?
Wonder Woman.
I know what Sam's going for. Every time I pull one up, we need like the da-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
thinking
thing?
of. Yeah.
From Gunny, who is the one person you most hated playing against? Someone you really wanted to punch in the face each time you face them.
My teammate, Claude Lemieux. Pepe pissed everybody off. There were, I don't even remember their names. It was in Quebec City. We had a couple little guys. If you could go back to the early 80s, there was a couple of them little shift disturbers. That
Nice.
yeah. And then Pierre forward.
Turgeon?
No. Terge wouldn't. LaRouche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
He pissed me off. Well, one time we were in Hartford and I chopped him a little bit. And so I got a penalty and I'm in the box and now there's no glass in the penalty box area. And Lucky Pierre.
So you
Lucky,
could just yell at each other.
No, but he's on the ice yet.
Okay.
But they're on the power play.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's a face-off right outside the blue line, right where I am, where the penalty box is. And I watch him just before the referee drops the puck. He goes like that, and he goes over to his left winger, and he tells him something. Then he just kind of did that. He fired the puck right after me, right on the face-off. I don't remember who our guy was taking the draw. Oh, yeah, it went right by my head sitting in the box. That was pretty good. I mean, he's a good player, 50-goal scorer.
I mean, to be able to pull a move like that.
Pete would always get 50 on his contract year.
Oh, yes.
yeah, but he
good
was
timing.
one of them. I hated Beaker too. Couldn't stand playing against Beaker. Like
Really?
say that all the time. You hate to play against them, but when they're on your team, man, you love them because now number one, they're not sticking you and chasing you around. So yeah, again, there was a few guys, but nothing bad. I mean, I don't think many people like me either, so it didn't really affect.
Were you
us.
aware of anybody that you were able to get under their skin when you played? Or they just
No.
found that you... Oh,
You know what? It's so different. Like getting under somebody's skin now really is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody does that much anymore. There's not really that guy. Who does Dallas have that does that? Dallas have that guy? Remember when Anton
Steve
Roussel was
Ott?
here?
Yeah.
Roos was probably the last guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Antoine was
Rousseau was
probably the
great
last
at
guy.
it.
Well, I mean, they had Corey Perry, but it was sort of in the back end of his career.
He's a little different because he's a 50-goal scorer. He's a Stanley Cup winner. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
have a little
But
bit
boy,
more
could he
respect.
agitate people.
Oh yeah. They're good yappers. You know, and the thing was there weren't as many yappers. You know, like Matthew Barnaby. I didn't like Barney either, but good guy and everything. Didn't like playing against him, but he was really good at his job, just like you said, Steve Ott.
Yep. God, I want to ask more follow-ups, but we got to keep going with the Discord. Naz, if Luds had to choose from drinking a bottle of Malort in one sitting or filling up his boot with Guinness and drinking it dry after an OT thriller in which he played 30 minutes, what does he choose?
Wow, that's a deep question.
Okay, well, I've never played 30 minutes. I don't know what Malort is.
Four OTs we'd have to go to, right?
Yeah.
I would.
By the way, I also don't know what Malort is. Okay, Malort is a bitter wormwood-based liquor that is considered the unofficial liquor of Chicago, according to Google.
I'll go with the Malort because I can't stand Guinness.
Intensely
It's just-
bitter,
And it's in a boot.
herbaceous,
It's just terrible.
and a
And it's
touch
in the boot. I'd rather just chew on the
citrusy.
boot.
Apparently, people say it's citrus-flavored gasoline.
Oh,
Well,
excellent.
I'd rather do that
Similar to
than
Guinness.
Guinness.
Do we think Jay Nays is expressing an opinion on Guinness, like basically saying these are two horrible options?
I
seems
like Guinness, by the way.
You
I
have to
don't
put
drink
it-
it a lot,
I
but I
don't drink beer, but back in the day, I hated Guinness. Hated it. My friends love it. Well, they're all Boston guys, so it makes sense.
they also
From
probably like mixing it with.
Boston.
They have Ireland in their blood.
They
so.
probably like mixing Guinness with a little whiskey. So
I
they
know
can-
they're pouring something in it.
It's
not
close
just-
to. It's just a notch above motor
Yeah.
oil.
They all do the thing where you with Guinness where you have to try to drink it to like the top of the harp or something. Is that what they do with it?
Did you read Ronnie?
Don't drink.
I did.
Ronnie says it,
Jim Sock tea.
it
is
tastes
what
like Malort tastes like Jim's sock tea.
he said. Malort
with
is
your
never
answer.
the answer.
Oh, I thought he was saying Jim as in J-I-M. I
No.
don't know Jim
Oh, no,
either.
no,
As in, like,
sweaty
workout sock.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Malort. There's Ronnie. Malort is never the answer.
That's awesome.
And it's about as thick as them too.
T Farmer said, haha, he would hate Malort more. All right,
I
what's
don't know,
next?
T Farmer.
What do we got?
Challenge me.
Oh,
Tyler HK93. What is the ceiling on Wyatt Johnston? Feels like we haven't had a player like this since Madonna. Fun question. Can you only drink whiskey, milk, or beer the rest of your life? Oh, you can only drink those. Which one do you pick? Milk, beer, or whiskey? There you go. See, we're getting creative today, folks.
that's
I
a
love
good
it.
one. It's the serious part first.
Yes. Wyatt Johnston's ceiling. Is he in the realm of Mike Madonna was very lofty.
I'm not going to say Mo. I think that's unfair to him. But Wyatt's a different player.
Mhm.
You know, Wyatt's a little gets in there, a little grittier, hangs around the front of the net. Mo is just pretty boy that could score. You know, and Wyatt's jersey's never going to be flapping behind him like Mo's would.
Well, it's not fair. The jerseys are much snugger now than
Yeah.
they used to be, too.
I don't think he
Well,
has
and
strap
he's a littler
attached either.
guy, and I
boy,
know
is
you
he
guys
quick.
think he's American. He's
Hey,
not really.
that goal he scored against Calgary, the old, pickpockets wheel,
God's
and
beauty.
I mean, he's capable of he's
just,
unassuming.
I don't know if he's going to get to 561.
Yeah. Okay.
How many
That's
goals
right.
did Mo score?
The beer.
That's the only reason I know that. That's the only reason. And you know how bad that was? I was sitting with Mo when we did a thing with this beer and it was at a brewery out in Texas out here. And so we were at the distillery and we're doing that and drinking the beer and stuff like that. And finally I just said, well, where'd you come up with 561? And he's got this stupid look all the time. No matter what it is, it's a stupid look. And he didn't even say nothing. I said, no, I'm serious. I said, is it significant for something? Or, I mean, why
He's
561?
looking at you like you have three heads.
I never
No one
kept
in the city that
I
doesn't know
honestly
that.
never knew that he had scored. I knew he was the leading American goal, but I didn't know what the number was. I don't know stats. I don't know guys' stats and stuff like that. So
Do you know how many goals you scored in your career?
I do not many. I do know that when we talked about Matt Duchene, he scored 353 goals and 835 assists. So I say he's more of a passer than a shooter in 1,089 games or something like that.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, that's points.
What was the second part?
Other half of the question was you can only drink milk,
Yeah,
beer, or whiskey for the rest of your life. Which do you pick?
That's tough.
I know the answer. Or at least I know what
Somewhere
I
for
think he's
him.
going to say.
Really?
Yeah.
I think too.
I think it's going to be milk. I mean, I'm sure you
Not
guys
what I
wouldn't,
had.
wouldn't
Nope.
think that.
I
Yeah,
thought beer.
I thought Miller Lite was going to be the
I've
answer.
tried putting beer on my Wheaties once. It ain't what they say
So-
it is. So I would have to go. Oh, yeah, I'd go with milk.
Do you remember that movie, Revenge of the Nerds, where they're
Yeah.
sitting and he pours the beer into the cereal and starts eating it?
Yeah, I've done that.
And
But
no,
it's not like it is on the show. Like it
it's gross.
tastes like ass.
38 career goals for you, Luds.
38.
7 in your second season. You
I was
exploded.
gonna trivia that one.
You exploded for 7.
And listen to this.
Hold
Here's
on,
one.
quick though. We're at 59.
Yes,
No,
thank you for
Oh.
those of you watching on our fast channels. We have to sign off there. We will continue our damn Discord on YouTube, and of course, when you're listening to this on the audio streaming podcast platforms. Thank you for watching. Okay. We continue.
That I scored a goal in my first year, and they actually had it in the paper the next day in the Journal of the puck in the net. And I didn't get it was against Washington, so I didn't get credit for it, which I didn't.
I was about to say, I'm looking at your rookie year right now. And it says 0
Yeah.
goals.
No,
so
I
was
didn't get
about to
credit
call
for
So
it.
you got hosed on your first NHL goal?
My first NHL
Come
goal was
on.
against Washington in Montreal. Anyway, the 7 that I scored in Montreal, I was on the power play. Yeah, exactly.
You had 1 power play point.
Yep. They would tell me, go to the front of the net and stand there. When the puck comes out of the zone, go to the red line, and when it's dumped in, don't go get it. Go stand there. And so I just
be a
stood.
body.
I just stood in front of the net.
That's funny because that would have been your career high in points. Would have been that year if they gave you that
Boy,
one goal.
I'll tell you what, the boys in the chat are enjoying this.
Yeah.
Because we have Ardell said Luds has 2 rings, all that matters. Then T Farmer said, actually Ronnie said Craig Ludwig 38 blonde.
You knew.
Is that a
Said
beer?
that would
Your new beer.
be a great name for a
Tell
beer.
Mo.
And then T Farmer said 222 points. That's a nice number for a beer. 222.
That'd be a cool one.
See?
You got to come up with something.
I had a beer. It's
What if
called
you
Luds
named
Suds.
it after
Luds
the...
Suds.
Yeah, it was at Tight Ends. They're just a brewery out in Allen. It was that brewery used to be called 9 Band, and there's a bad ending for that brewery. But
So they're not serving. It's Tight Ends is over.
no,
off,
I think one of them's serving,
121.
but he's serving time.
Oh, that.
Yeah, one of them.
But not the beer.
No
Not
more
the
of
beer.
No,
No.
that's a bummer.
And it really, it was a wheat beer, a honey wheat beer, but it was going to be, one of them kind of craft beers. And I said, man, and they told me when I went out there, I said, Mr. Ludwig, we know you got to taste some. Which one do you like? He goes, but we got Miller Lite in the back room there for you, because we know that you don't like it. And so, anyways, we found something that's close, and it was a honey wheat beer. My kids liked it, but yeah, it didn't last long.
Ardell said Luds has more goals than Gretzky. Brent Gretzky.
I called UHL games with Brent.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was playing for a couple different places. He's a hell of a player. Just
couldn't
shadow.
Just couldn't live up to the
Couldn't put it
brother
in like
family
you,
name.
eh?
Yeah, I know. Couldn't do what I did.
he at the UHL level. He was really fun to watch. Very skilled, but yeah. Wayne, I mean, that's not fair. It's like talking about Madonna, right? All right, what's the next one, John?
So I believe first note though is that Gunny, J Nays, and Tyler HK. I believe those 3 are all 3 of our newer diehards.
Nice.
So their questions went first. Now we're
Oh,
going
nice.
into
Thanks,
some of the P1s. I think.
Oh, well, by the way, let me ask you that. Because Sturm's got the P1s and all. What is a P1? What does that stand for? What does the P stand for?
Well, I think P1 is a term they used in Formula One racing, meaning first position. So if
Does that
you
got something to do with the
It's like
P1s?
day ones. It's like people who have
P1,
been there.
you're in the pole position. So I believe that's the origin of the ticket followers is people that listen to it. They call
How can
them
they
the
all
P1s.
be P1s? Wouldn't there just be one? I thought it was preferred. I thought it meant preferred, like our fan base or something like that. So
it's like a
anybody know that in the chat, by the way? Anybody know what
Yeah,
Day
P1
one
OG.
P1s. Well, they call it day
Like an
one
OG.
P1s.
Yeah,
Ask Luds, somebody, let me ask the
like an
people
OG.
that are
Just like,
asking
well,
me.
we're the diehards.
Well, whatever we are, somebody answer that. What's a P1? Why? What's it called? The ticket? Those guys have P1s, right?
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
Anyways,
okay.
All right, fire it up
Here's
there.
the next one. I Love Missy 1985. We're getting into the OGs, as John liked to
Yep.
call them. Do you ever
Yes.
do you ever regret not coming back for the 99-2000 season? I still remain convinced the Stars could have repeated if you were on the team.
I, you know what? That year I was Bob Gainey in the summer. I'd retired, and he asked if I would go to Utah. Or no, that was when they were in Michigan. They were in
Kalamazoo.
Yeah, Kalamazoo.
Yep.
And and it was Christmas time, and I was with my buddy snowmobiling, and he called me up, and I had to go outside the bar because they were all hooting and hollering in the bar, and I'm standing out in the snowbank. I didn't put my leathers on or anything, but Gainey, we're talking. He goes, "Hey, I'd like to know if you'd coach our, go down." And anyway, I said, "Oh, let me think about it." And anyway, after I called him back a couple days later, I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And he goes, "Hey, when you get there, there's like 5 days where there's no games." I said, "Okay, good. That's a good time to he wanted to work on the defensive zone, stuff like that." He goes, "Grab your equipment and take it with you." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Just take your stuff. I'll take all your stuff with you." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, I'd like you to just take your stuff with you. You can skate during them 5 days." I said, "Why the hell would I skate? We're going to be doing practice until then." "Well," and Bobby, "I want you to come back and play this year." I'm like, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, I'd like you to come back." And I said, "Really?" And that was in December or January, whatever it was. And I said, "Give me a couple of weeks to think about it." And I ultimately called Bob Gainey back, and I said, listen, I appreciate it, but I said, my kids are just starting high school. And I said, I don't really care if I'm 40 years old, haven't played, been drinking all summer, been snowmobiling, all this other kind of stuff. And you want me to step in the middle of the season. I said, Bo, I don't care about me getting torched out there by some guy during a game. I said, but I can't let my kids go to school when they're going, oh my God, did your dad just get beat last night? And I said, sorry, I can't do it. And then I'm sitting in Kalamazoo and I'm watching those guys go to the finals. The Stars go to the finals that year, and I'm thinking, oh, you dumbass.
Would you have been in the slot there to get that pass and stop Arnott from burying that one?
Well, Arnie would have been KO'd by the time by that first game. I knocked Arnie out once in Edmonton.
Did you?
Yeah. But anyway, and I like.
I'm
Arnie's
sure you
a good guy.
never bring that up to him and remind him of that.
I think he knows. I think he remembers.
It's the radio preset is P1. Your first preset.
Is that what it is?
First preset on your radio.
From,
so
Ardell.
it's not what you thought it was.
According to Ardell,
Thank
he said
you, Ardell.
position 1. But
Oh, same thing. What
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, next one. Schmitty, reworded for clarity. That's always fun. The podcast gets into a bar fight in Boston following a Bruins loss to the Stars. Who would be the most helpful in that situation and why?
I'm just gonna get it.
We literally
hit the
did
showers.
this with DLLS of you and Jesse
But
were,
this is just ours.
but it's just the Stars podcast now. Are you going with the Boston guy?
Wait a second. What's the question? Like what?
Pop it up again, John.
Wait.
Read it a second time.
The podcast. Oh,
Us,
I thought we were talking about game. Oh,
Apparently-
Jesse.
no, it's this show.
Oh, this show?
It's the people in this room.
Does that include like management though? Because technically, like Bobby's on the table, Ben's on the table, all
I
the way
think
up.
he means just
Just us
the
and
show,
Sean.
us and Sean. Yeah.
I think if they're on the table, it's still just up to the people in this room.
I feel I would just say, guys, stand back, and I'll take the beating myself.
This is a business.
I'd rather get the hell beat out of me than have one of you guys in there trying to back me up.
Yeah, that
So,
wouldn't. I mean, the Boston dudes who fight in the bars obviously are like
Yeah.
losers, but the second they start throwing around like buddy and pal, like it needs to be taken.
Does it-
aside.
grows.
Does it help that I have multiple years of combat training, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu,
And more? Did you say Muay Thai?
Muay Thai,
Muay Thai.
and boxing? Does that help at all?
It does.
And people hated me on the ice.
Oh, that helped. But
So everybody in
trying
the
to sell
chat
myself
seems
here.
to think John is the one that you should take because
the reach.
look at
no, he has it's John has that crazy look in his eye. You don't F with John. John probably had to fight before experience, and
I've never had to fight. I mean, I had an older brother who used to beat the crap out of
and
me every
John
day, so-
has all that rage.
Yeah, I'd say don't go with me would be my recommendation. I appreciate this picture that I've apparently painted of myself, but
It's good.
I don't think I'd be very. It has to be Luds in the front, and I think Owen for height could go next to him, and then Sam
Owen can reach around.
Sam could be like the tapped little guy who we need to hold back, and like we start to warn the other people,
Yeah,
like,
like,
hey, you
this
guys
little
don't
guy
want to
over
mess
here
with
is
him.
crazy.
Yeah.
Then
And
don't-
I'll have some Alka-Seltzer coming out of the mouth.
We'd have to
Also,
bring
Sam
we'd have
gets
to bring
crazy.
Radigan along then too. He could do the
Well, he's on the
play-by-play.
show.
Oh, that'd be great.
Do you have Sam? Do you get like bloodshot eyes if you have like 5 drinks? I feel like your eyes would get like pretty red.
Probably.
Yeah, because I feel like
he says, "Have you ever had 5 drinks?"
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, all at once.
Oh, yeah.
in one sitting.
I've broken my ankle 2 times in my life. Both were vodka soda infused evenings that I was dancing.
nice. Weddings.
Dancing injuries.
Not
Nice.
weddings. And one of them was because I stepped on a girl.
Whoops.
Let's get
I don't
back to Luds, eh?
What's the next one? Ben, this is Super Chat Ben, right?
Yep.
Which DLLS crew member would Luds want to be stranded with on a desert island and why? Wow. Did you guys hear that?
I heard
Who was
that.
that? Was that
It was
Abby.
Abby.
So-
Was that Abby?
Are you requesting Abby? I think. There you go.
Okay,
I don't know
Abby.
if the
I'll
mics
take
could pick
Abby.
that up, but Abby just yelled her own name from across the studio.
Abby of the Rangers pod and, of course, part of our social team as well.
Did somebody here write that question?
No, that was Ben. Not our GM Ben, but Ben from the chat Discord, the diehard Ben.
I mean, you got to go with whoever has like who would have the best survival skills, right?
Yeah,
Which, based on
I
appearance,
haven't.
might be Sean
I have
Shapiro.
confidence in no one in here
If
that
you-
I've seen.
If you had to do a survivor thing and
Huh?
somebody had to build a fire,
Well, what about my little green beret guy next to me?
Do you think you can fashion a
I
canoe
don't know.
out of
When
a
I get
log?
hungry, I guess I'm gonna have to start eating them.
You have to be, but hey, Hey,
Last summer.
microphone into the
sorry.
mic.
I have 2 separate bachelor parties that I've done. 2 weeks in the woods survival, learning all that stuff, weapons, everything. I'm telling you,
That's
lads.
what you do for a bachelor party?
Yeah, the Brown brothers are kind of crazy.
Okay, take Sam.
Next one.
Take Sam.
T Farmer, how do you spell?
Oh, hold on.
John
The word.
will say the word.
Well, we couldn't put the word on the
Why?
screen, or
No,
else
is-
Luds would have had the spelling in front
That's
of him.
right.
The word you have to spell, Luds, is
Anti-disestablishment.
Easy for you to say.
anti-disestablishmentarianism.
ANTI. Do I got that part?
You nailed that part.
I
Yes.
ESTABLISHMENT. Is it anti-dis? What was it? Was it
Anti-
disestablishment?
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Okay, well then I got just put a DIS in front of the E then. And then put an MENT after I spelled establishment for you.
Arianism.
What?
That's the end of the word.
What was it?
Arianism.
Arianism?
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Oh, terrorism. TARISM.
I think there's an extra little bit in there, right?
Yeah, you skipped the middle of the
It's
word.
Terrianism, not terrorism.
Well, I prefer terrorism.
Terrianism.
I got my little green
We're
beret next to me. I'm good.
Pro-terrorism podcast.
Yeah. Why that?
I'd say close enough.
Yeah.
I'd say we give it to him.
Nobody ever thought it was going to get that far.
No, I did not. I will admit.
Big word.
Final one is a repeat from Schmitty.
Schmitty says, which would be more entertaining, John trying to score a goal or on Sean, or Luds trying to produce the podcast?
Oh, I could produce the pot. After watching this clown, I know I can do this.
Yeah,
I know I can do this.
What is the password to the computer?
I don't know.
He doesn't know the password.
why
to
do
his
I need
computer.
that?
We wouldn't even get off the
He
ground.
doesn't know the password to his computer.
No, I could do the podcast. I could.
All right.
I
Our
could
ne-
run
But
our
that.
actually,
next-
you could run the equipment.
One thing I know, when we say the show is going to be from 2 to 3, I'd be in my car at 2:01 or 3:01. It's already
well, that's not
3:11.
producing the podcast. That's being in Owen's chair.
We'll do next.
Oh, wow.
wow. Next damn Discord, we're just gonna have John sitting there and
Yeah.
Lutz
And we'll-
be over there.
I get to play with all the
Yeah,
buttons
he just hit all
and
the
the
buttons.
sound effects. All right. Okay.
That is it. That's all.
That
we have.
is
That's it.
a heavyweight Luddy's damn Discord channel. So thank you to everybody who submitted. We'll do it again sometime because we have a ton of games.
We still have to have some kind of event.
We do, and we will.
We're building up to
We're
that
building.
as a company.
The company has to get to this
We're a
point where-
startup.
Well,
you know,
the money
you know
that
what
he's
is?
paying for a mic to send to Sean, we could have used for the party.
Yeah. Well, the mic was like $30.
That would be a start. I could have a Guinness.
or
Out of a boot.
Out of a boot.
Yep. Well, hey, it's been fun today. What a way to end it. We're back for our pregame show tomorrow, 6:15. Sammy will be over at the AAC.
Yeah.
It's been fun and it's been real. It just hasn't been real fun.
There you go. Stars and Preds tomorrow night. And then no show Friday. And then Saturday, Stars and Blues as Jim Montgomery comes back into town for the second time this season. And not for the last, I'm guessing. So for the damn Discord channel himself, Craig Ludwig, for the Green Beret, the Samando,
better
Sam
than
Nessler,
Gilligan.
and for the I'm full of rage producer himself, John Anderson, I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us.
Effects.
And it's empty. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.